Tom was a farmer who lived a quiet life far away from town. His land was wide, filled with golden fields and rows of vegetables. He woke with the sunrise, worked with his hands, and ended his day when the sky turned dark. He was used to the simple rhythm of life. Animals in the barn, crops in the field, and the endless sound of wind passing through the grass. Nothing unusual ever happened there. At least, that was what Tom always believed. One cool evening, as Tom was closing the wooden gate near the cornfield, he noticed something strange in the sky. At first, he thought it was a shooting star. A single bright streak flashed above the horizon. But then it slowed down. Instead of vanishing like a normal star, the light grew brighter. It danced in the sky as if searching for a place to land. Tom rubbed his eyes, thinking he might be tired, but the light was real. It floated lower, flashing colors he had never seen before. Then, in a blink, it disappeared into the woods at the edge of his farm. Tom's heart beat faster. He had lived on that land for years, and nothing like this had ever happened. For a moment, he thought of going back inside the house and pretending he had seen nothing. But curiosity pulled at him. He took his lantern and walked toward the woods. His boots pressed into the soft earth, crunching leaves with each step. The air smelled of pine and damp soil. The crickets sang, but even their sound seemed nervous that night. When he reached the wooden fence by the forest, he heard a faint noise. It was not like any bird or animal he had known. It sounded like a soft cry, almost like a whistle. Tom raised his lantern and looked carefully. His eyes widened. There, tangled in the fence wires, was a small creature. Its skin glowed faintly, like moonlight on water. It had tiny wings folded against its back, and its long tail flickered with little sparks of light. Its eyes were large and round, filled with fear. It looked almost like a dragon from old stories, but smaller and more delicate. Tom froze. He had never believed in stories of magical beasts or visitors from the sky, yet here one was, right in front of him. The creature pulled at the wires, trying to escape, but the more it moved, the more it became stuck. Tom stepped closer, careful not to scare it. The creature hissed softly, but its voice was weak, more frightened than dangerous. "Easy now," Tom said gently. His voice was steady, the same tone he used when calming a frightened calf. "I'm not here to hurt you. You are stuck, that is all." The creature blinked at him, as if trying to understand his words. Its glow dimmed for a moment. Tom slowly set down the lantern and bent to untangle the wires. The metal had caught around one of the wings. With steady hands, Tom loosened the knots. The creature stopped struggling, watching him with curious eyes. Finally, with one careful pull, the wing came free. The creature shivered, then stepped back, breathing quickly. It was free. Tom stood and picked up his lantern again. The light from the lantern mixed with the soft glow of the creature's skin. For a long moment, the two simply looked at each other. The farmer and the little glowing dragon stood in silence in the cool night air. "You are far from home, aren't you?" Tom said. He felt odd speaking to a creature that might not understand him, yet he felt he had to. "Come here, little alien dragon. Let me help you. But promise not to trespass on my farm." The creature tilted its head, as though listening. Then, to Tom's surprise, it gave a small nod. Its wings fluttered weakly, but it did not fly away. Instead, it took a cautious step toward him. Tom reached out his hand, palm open, showing he meant no harm. The creature sniffed the air and then gently pressed its glowing nose against his rough fingers. A warm feeling spread through Tom's hand, not hot, not cold, but something in between. It felt like trust. Tom smiled. "That's better. You must be hungry, or tired. The barn is safe. You can rest there." The creature followed him as he walked back to the farm. Its small feet made no sound on the grass. When they reached the barn, Tom laid some hay in a corner and filled a small bowl with water. The creature sniffed the water, then drank slowly, its glowing body dimming with relief. Tom watched with quiet wonder. The farm had always been filled with life, but never like this. When the creature curled up in the hay, its glow softened until it was no brighter than a candle. Tom leaned against the barn door and thought about what had just happened. He had always believed that his farm was a simple place, untouched by mystery. Yet tonight, something extraordinary had come into his life. Something not from this world, but small and in need of help. Tom felt a sense of duty. He was a farmer, used to caring for animals and land. Now, he would care for this little visitor too. As long as it kept its promise. That night, as Tom returned to his house, the stars above seemed brighter. He wondered if more lights would return to the sky. He wondered what the creature truly was and why it had come. But for now, it was safe in the barn, and that was enough. Tom sat by his window before sleeping, looking out at the quiet fields. Somewhere in the darkness, the small dragon rested. For the first time in years, Tom felt that his farm was not just land and work. It was part of something greater. Something that reached beyond the stars. The next morning, Tom woke early, just as he always did. The sun was rising slowly, painting the fields in soft gold. Birds were singing near the fence, and the cows were waiting to be milked. Everything seemed the same, yet Tom felt different. He remembered the glowing creature resting in the barn. For a moment, he wondered if it had all been a dream. Carrying a bucket, he walked to the barn. When he opened the door, a gentle light flickered inside. The creature was still there, curled up in the hay. Its wings rose and fell with each breath, and its body glowed faintly like the last ember of a fire. Tom stood quietly, watching it sleep. The sight made him feel both curious and calm. When the creature opened its eyes, the barn filled with soft light. It blinked at Tom, then stretched its small wings. The glow grew brighter, as if greeting the farmer. Tom stepped forward with a calm smile. "Good morning," he said kindly. "I see you are still here. That means you kept your promise." The creature tilted its head, then let out a small sound. It was not a growl, not a hiss, but a gentle tone, almost like a flute. Tom took it as a sign of agreement. He set down a bowl of fresh water and a few apples. "I do not know what you eat," Tom explained, "but this is what I have." The creature sniffed at the apples, then bit into one. To Tom's surprise, the glow on its body brightened as it chewed. The creature seemed pleased. Tom chuckled softly. "So you like apples? That makes things easier." Over the next few days, Tom and the creature began to understand each other better. Tom decided to call it Lumo, because of the gentle light that always surrounded it. Lumo seemed to respond when Tom said the name, lifting its head or fluttering its wings. Tom often spoke to Lumo while working on the farm. "These cows give good milk," he would say as he filled the pails. "The soil is rich here. If you stay, you will see many seasons." Lumo listened, blinking slowly as though it understood every word. Sometimes it followed Tom around the barn, moving lightly on its feet. Other times it stayed in the hay, glowing quietly like a lantern. One afternoon, Tom was fixing a broken gate when Lumo walked over. It stood by the fence, its glow brighter than usual. Tom noticed that when Lumo spread its wings, the cows calmed down, even those that were restless. "So you have a gift," Tom murmured. "You bring peace." Later, while Tom was tending to the chickens, Lumo hopped closer. A fox had been sneaking into the henhouse in past weeks, but that day no fox came near. The soft light from Lumo seemed to keep pests away. Tom realized that Lumo was not only a visitor but also a helper. His farm had always been steady, yet now it felt more alive. Still, Tom did not forget his warning. One evening, as he poured fresh water into Lumo's bowl, he spoke seriously. "You are welcome here. You will find food, shelter, and safety. But remember our deal. Promise me again. Do not trespass where you should not. The world outside may not be as kind as this farm." Lumo lowered its head and let out a soft tone. Its glow pulsed gently, like a heartbeat. Tom took that as a promise. That night, Tom sat by the fire in his house. He thought about how quickly things had changed. He had lived alone for years, with only animals for company. Now, in the barn, there was a creature not from this earth, and yet it trusted him. Tom realized that this bond was special. He was no scientist, no traveler of the stars, yet here he was, caring for something extraordinary. The days passed, and the friendship grew. When Tom walked across the fields, Lumo often floated a little above the ground, following him like a shadow made of light. When Tom worked late, Lumo's glow guided his way. Sometimes, when Tom sat quietly on the porch in the evening, Lumo curled at his feet, humming softly. It was not the life Tom had expected, but it was richer than before. One morning, Tom carried a basket of eggs to the kitchen. As he stepped inside, he noticed the farm looked brighter than usual. The crops seemed greener, the air felt warmer. He turned and saw Lumo in the field, wings half open. The soft glow spread across the soil like sunlight. Tom stared in amazement. "You are helping the land grow," he whispered. "You are giving life." Lumo chirped softly, then folded its wings. It looked at Tom with round, trusting eyes. Tom smiled. "Very well, little friend. We are partners now. You help me, and I help you." That evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Tom stood by the barn door. Lumo rested in the hay, glowing faintly as it drifted into sleep. Tom whispered to himself, "It seems I am not alone anymore." For the first time in years, his heart felt lighter. He had always thought of his farm as a place of work, but now it had become something greater. It had become a place of friendship and wonder. The farm was quiet in the early morning. A cool breeze moved across the fields, carrying the smell of fresh grass. Tom stepped outside with his hat and boots, ready for another day of work. The sky was clear, and the sun was just beginning to rise. Normally, mornings on the farm were the same, but ever since Lumo had arrived, each day seemed to hold a small surprise. Tom walked to the barn and opened the door. Inside, Lumo was already awake. The little dragon stretched its wings and gave a soft chirp of greeting. Its glow flickered like a lantern. Tom smiled. "Good morning, Lumo. Ready to help with the day?" Lumo hopped forward, tail swishing gently. It followed Tom as he carried buckets of water to the cows. When Tom began milking, the animals stood calmer than ever. Normally, one or two cows would kick the pail or move too much, but with Lumo nearby, they were peaceful. The cows stared at the glowing creature with curious eyes, yet none were afraid. "You have a calming touch," Tom said as he finished with the pails. "Even the animals trust you." Later, Tom walked to the vegetable field. He bent down to check the young plants. They had grown taller and greener than usual. He rubbed his chin in thought. The soil had been good, but not this good. Then he noticed Lumo wandering between the rows. The little dragon's glow spread across the plants, and the leaves seemed to lift toward the light. Tom blinked in surprise. "You are helping the crops grow," he whispered. From that day on, Tom began to notice more changes. At night, when pests tried to sneak into the garden, they kept their distance if Lumo was near. Rabbits that once nibbled on the lettuce now stayed away. Even the insects seemed unwilling to go near the glow. Tom realized that Lumo was not only his friend but also a guardian for the farm. One evening, Tom sat on the porch after a long day. The sky was painted in shades of pink and orange. Lumo rested beside him, glowing softly like a living lamp. Tom spoke in his calm voice. This farm has always been hard work. I used to feel tired at the end of each day, but now the land feels lighter, as if you are giving it strength. Lumo tilted its head and let out a soft hum, a sound like wind passing through a flute. Tom laughed gently. I do not know if you understand every word, but I think you know enough. As days passed, Lumo's place in the farm became clear. It followed Tom when he fed the chickens, and the hens seemed to lay more eggs than before. It floated near the sheep, and the flock stayed calm even when thunder rolled in the sky. Tom's farm, which had once been ordinary, now carried a quiet magic. Yet Tom did not let himself forget the promise. One afternoon, while Lumo was chasing fireflies near the fence, Tom called it back. The little dragon landed softly at his feet, wings folding. Tom crouched and spoke seriously. You are free to stay here, but remember what I said. This farm is safe, but beyond it, people may not understand you. Promise again, no wandering where you should not. Lumo lowered its head and gave a gentle chirp. Its glow pulsed softly, like a steady beat. Tom nodded. Good. We will keep each other safe. The bond between farmer and dragon grew deeper. At night, Tom sometimes sat in the barn with Lumo, telling stories of the land. He spoke about planting seeds, about the patience of waiting for rain, about the joy of harvest. Lumo listened quietly, curling in the hay, its glow rising and falling with the rhythm of Tom's voice. One night, Tom carried his lantern to the barn, but he hardly needed it. Lumo's glow filled the space, chasing away the shadows. Tom leaned against the wooden wall, looking around. You light up more than this barn, he said softly. You light up this farm, and perhaps even me. In the days that followed, Tom began to feel something he had not felt in a long time. His work no longer felt heavy. The long hours in the sun did not seem lonely. Lumo had become more than a guest. It had become part of the farm's heart. The land responded too. Fields looked greener, animals healthier, and even the air felt fresher. Neighbors passing by on the road sometimes paused to admire the bright crops. They wondered why Tom's farm looked so alive. Tom simply nodded and said, hard work and care. He never spoke of the small dragon that glowed in his barn, for that was his secret. That evening, Tom sat under the stars. Lumo rested beside him, its glow gentle and steady. Tom thought of how his life had been before, filled with silence and routine. Now, each day carried a spark of wonder. He turned his gaze toward the little dragon and whispered, You have given this farm new life, Lumo. And you have given me company. Lumo lifted its head, eyes shining like small moons. It gave a soft hum, and for a moment, Tom felt as if the stars themselves were listening. The farm had learned new tricks, not because of tools or machines, but because of trust, kindness, and the light of a little dragon from the stars. The farm had never looked so bright. Crops stood tall and green, the cows gave more milk than usual, and the chickens laid their eggs on time each morning. Tom worked with steady hands, but he knew much of this change was because of Lumo. The little dragon's light had become a part of the land itself. For weeks, Tom kept Lumo hidden inside the barn or close to the fields when no one was near. He enjoyed the peace of their secret. Yet secrets have a way of slipping into the world, and soon the neighbors began to notice. One afternoon, while Tom was stacking hay, his neighbor, Henry, leaned on the fence. Henry was a talkative man who liked to ask questions. He pointed toward the rows of corn that stood taller than any in the county. Your crops are looking mighty fine this season, Henry said with a smile. What's your secret? Special soil? Some new trick? Tom wiped his hands on his shirt and gave a calm reply. Just hard work and patience. The land rewards those who care for it. Henry chuckled, though his eyes stayed sharp. I have worked hard too, but my fields don't shine like yours. Tom only shrugged. He did not wish to say more. After Henry left, Tom walked back to the barn and found Lumo waiting in the hay. The dragon's glow flickered softly, as if it understood what had been said. Tom leaned close. "You must be careful. Others are beginning to wonder. We cannot let them see you." Lumo tilted its head, giving a gentle hum. Tom hoped it understood. But the whispers in town grew louder. At the market, people spoke of Tom's farm. Some said his soil was richer, others believed he had found a secret method. A few even joked that magic was at work. Tom kept quiet, carrying his baskets of vegetables and returning quickly home. One evening, as the sun set, another neighbor walked by the farm. Her name was Mary, and she was kind but curious. She paused by the road when she saw a faint glow near the barn. At first, she thought it was a lantern left burning, but the light shifted and moved in a way no lantern could. Mary narrowed her eyes, but before she could step closer, the glow faded. She shook her head and continued home, but the thought stayed with her. Inside the barn, Tom closed the door quickly. He turned to Lumo, who had been chasing fireflies with its glowing wings. "That was too close," Tom whispered. "You must not wander when others are near. They will not understand you the way I do." Lumo's glow dimmed, almost like a child lowering its head after being warned. Tom softened his voice. "I know you only wish to play, but safety comes first. Promise me you will stay hidden." The dragon gave a soft sound, and Tom felt it was a promise. Still, he worried. As days passed, Tom grew more careful. He worked earlier in the morning and later in the evening, keeping Lumo close when neighbors might pass by. But even with care, small signs remained. The farm animals were calmer, the plants greener, and sometimes a faint glow could be seen through cracks in the barn wall. Curious eyes noticed, and questions returned. One Saturday, a group of townsfolk stopped by. They said they were only passing through, but Tom could feel their eyes studying the land. They praised his vegetables, asked about the soil, and looked closely at the barn. Tom answered with calm words, but his heart was heavy. He feared they might guess the truth. Inside the barn, Lumo stayed hidden in the hay, trying not to glow too brightly. Yet even there, a faint light slipped out, shining through the wood for a moment. One of the visitors paused and stared. "Strange light you've got in there," the man said. "Some kind of new lamp?" Tom forced a small laugh. "Just old boards catching the sunset. Nothing more." He quickly changed the subject and led them back toward the road. When the visitors left, Tom returned to the barn. Lumo stepped forward, eyes wide. The glow on its skin flickered nervously. Tom crouched down and placed a hand gently on its back. "It is not your fault. You shine because that is who you are. But if others see, they will not let you stay free. They might take you away." Lumo lowered its wings, listening closely. Tom continued in a steady voice. "This farm is your home now, but only if you keep the promise. Stay here, stay safe, and do not wander." The dragon pressed its glowing nose against Tom's hand. Warmth spread through Tom's palm, and he felt the bond between them grow stronger. That night, Tom sat on the porch, watching the stars. He thought of how easily curiosity could turn into suspicion. He did not blame his neighbors. They only saw what was before their eyes and wondered about it. Yet he knew they could never understand the little dragon the way he did. In the barn, Lumo curled into the hay, glowing softly like a hidden star. Tom glanced toward the barn and whispered, "We will protect each other, little one. No matter what questions come, this farm will stay our secret." The night was quiet, but Tom knew the days ahead would not always be easy. The world was beginning to notice, and secrets, no matter how carefully kept, always carried risk. The next morning, the farm was quiet except for the sound of birds singing and the soft rustle of leaves. Tom walked along the edge of the vegetable fields, checking the plants. They had grown taller and healthier since Lumo had arrived. The sun reflected off the morning dew, making the fields sparkle. Lumo floated beside him, its glow gentle and steady. Tom bent down and touched a tomato plant. "You are growing faster than I expected," he said. "I wonder if the others notice yet." Lumo chirped softly, flapping its wings. Tom smiled. "We have to be careful. Not everyone will understand you. But that is okay. You are safe here with me." As Tom continued his morning rounds, he noticed something unusual near the edge of the field. A small patch of earth looked different. The soil was darker, softer, and a faint shimmer moved across it. Tom knelt and touched it. It felt warm, almost alive. He stood slowly and called Lumo over. The little dragon floated down and landed beside the patch. Its glow brightened, and it sniffed the ground. Then it tapped the earth gently with its claw. To Tom's surprise, tiny sprouts began to rise from the soil. They were plants he had never seen before, with silver leaves that reflected the sunlight like mirrors. Tom stepped back in awe. "I have never planted anything like this," he whispered. "Where did it come from?" Lumo chirped, hopping around the patch. The dragon's glow made the plants shimmer more brightly. Tom realized that Lumo's presence was helping these new plants grow as well. He reached down and touched a leaf. It was soft, almost like silk, and it gave a faint warmth to his hand. Tom spent the next few hours carefully studying the new patch. He marked the area with small sticks so he could watch it closely. The plants seemed to respond to Lumo's glow, growing slowly but surely. Tom could hardly believe his eyes. He had worked on this farm for many years, but nothing had ever felt like this before. Later, Tom decided to show the patch to no one. He knew curiosity could turn into suspicion, and he did not want anyone taking the plants or asking questions he could not answer. Only Lumo could understand the magic of the new growth. The day passed quickly. Tom tended the other crops and animals, but his mind kept returning to the mysterious patch. He wondered if the plants had always been hidden in the soil or if Lumo had somehow helped them appear. Either way, they were special. That evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon, Tom sat on the porch with Lumo beside him. The dragon's glow was soft and calming. Tom spoke quietly. "Today was strange. I do not know how it happened, but you helped something new grow. I think we are only beginning to understand what this farm can become." Lumo chirped and nudged Tom's hand gently. Its warm glow made him feel calm and safe. The farmer realized that life on the farm had changed in ways he could not have imagined. It was no longer just about planting and harvesting. It was about discovery, care, and trust. The next morning, Tom decided to experiment carefully. He carried a small watering can to the patch of silver-leaved plants and sprinkled them with water. Lumo hovered nearby, wings spreading light across the soil. Slowly, the plants seemed to respond, stretching upward and leaning toward the glow. Tom smiled. "You really are something special," he said softly. Days turned into weeks, and the mysterious patch grew. Tom kept records of its progress, noticing tiny flowers with colors he had never seen before. The animals of the farm seemed to sense the change as well. The cows grazed calmly nearby, the chickens roamed without worry, and even the wind seemed gentler in that area of the farm. Yet Tom never let his guard down. He knew the neighbors were still curious, and the town whispered about the unusual farm. He kept Lumo close at all times, ensuring that no one discovered the dragon. The bond between them had grown stronger than ever. Tom understood that Lumo was not just helping the farm grow but also protecting it from the outside world. One night, Tom stood by the barn, looking at the glowing dragon. "We have discovered something incredible together," he said. "I do not know what it all means, but I promise to keep you safe, little one. No one can take this from us." Lumo chirped and rubbed its head against Tom's arm, its glow pulsing gently. Tom felt a wave of hope and happiness. For the first time, he realized that his farm was not only a home for him but a place of wonder and magic, where anything seemed possible when he and Lumo worked together. As the stars appeared in the night sky, Tom whispered softly, "Tomorrow, we will see what more we can discover. Together, we can make this farm a place like no other." The little dragon glowed brightly, and for a moment, it seemed the stars themselves had come down to watch over the farm. Spring had arrived at the farm. Flowers bloomed in colors brighter than Tom had ever seen. The crops thrived, and the animals seemed happier. Lumo's glow had become part of the farm, a gentle light that touched everything. Tom often walked through the fields in the early morning, feeling proud of the work they had done together. One day, a letter arrived from the town. It was an invitation to the annual Festival of Lights. The festival celebrated kindness, community, and the beauty of nature. Tom paused, holding the envelope. He had never attended before. The farm was his world, and he worried about leaving Lumo alone. Lumo noticed the letter and hopped onto Tom's shoulder. Its glow brightened as if encouraging him to go. Tom chuckled softly. "I suppose you want to see the festival too, little one. But we must be careful. No one can know about you yet." Still, the idea of visiting the festival sparked curiosity in Tom. It could be a chance to see the town, meet neighbors, and perhaps learn how to protect the farm from growing rumors. He decided they would attend, but only for a short time and under the cover of the evening lights. When night fell, Tom packed a small basket with bread, cheese, and water. He placed Lumo in a cloth carrier so no one would notice the little dragon. The town looked different at night, filled with lanterns, laughter, and music. Children ran with glowing sticks, and families admired the decorations along the streets. Tom walked carefully, holding the carrier close. He wanted to enjoy the festival without drawing attention. Lumo peeked out, eyes wide with wonder. Its glow was faint, but every now and then, a soft shimmer escaped, making the cloth flicker like moonlight. As they passed a stall selling colorful lanterns, Tom noticed a young boy staring at the glow. Tom froze. The boy's eyes widened, but instead of shouting or pointing, he smiled. "That is a very bright lantern," he said politely. Tom nodded quickly. "Yes, it is. Thank you." He kept walking, heart pounding. Lumo chirped softly from inside the cloth, sensing the tension. They found a quiet spot near the town fountain. Tom set the basket down and carefully lifted Lumo from the cloth. The little dragon looked around, its glow brightening slightly. Tom whispered, "We are safe here, little one. No one can see you now." Lumo hovered above the fountain, wings fluttering like soft silver feathers. Water reflected its light, creating a small magical display. A few people walking by stopped briefly, thinking it was a trick of the water and lanterns. Tom smiled to himself. Lumo had always been special, and now, the world had a tiny glimpse of that magic without anyone knowing the truth. For the first time, Tom felt the joy of sharing the secret, even in a small way. Children nearby laughed at the sparkling reflection in the water, and Lumo chirped happily, moving its wings to create more patterns in the fountain. Tom watched, his heart warm. After a while, Tom knew it was time to leave. The festival was beautiful, but secrecy was still important. He carried Lumo back through the streets, careful to stay in shadows. When they reached the farm, the dragon's glow brightened with relief. Tom set it down in the barn, and Lumo curled up in the hay, its soft light pulsing gently. Tom sat on the porch, looking at the stars. "Tonight was special," he said quietly. "You saw the world outside, but our home is still safe. Our farm will always be our place of wonder." As he spoke, Tom noticed something unusual. The silver-leaved plants near the barn seemed to glow slightly more than usual. He approached slowly, and Lumo floated beside him, wings brushing the air. The plants shimmered, reacting to the dragon's presence. Tom realized that their magic was growing stronger, influenced by Lumo and perhaps even by the energy of the festival. Tom leaned down and touched a leaf. It was warm and soft, almost alive. "I wonder what else we can discover together," he whispered. Lumo chirped in response, rubbing its head against Tom's hand. The night was calm, but Tom felt a sense of excitement. Something new was awakening on the farm. The little dragon and the silver-leaved plants had created a world of their own, full of light, life, and hope. Tom knew that the days ahead would be filled with discovery, but he was ready. Together, they could face anything and protect the magic they had found. As he looked at Lumo glowing softly in the barn, Tom smiled. "We will always have each other. And one day, the world might see just a little of our magic. But for now, it is ours to cherish." The stars above twinkled, and the farm rested quietly, filled with soft light and the promise of adventure. Morning came slowly over the farm, painting the sky with soft pinks and golds. Tom walked through the fields, the air fresh and cool. The silver-leaved plants glimmered faintly in the morning light, their glow mingling with the sun. Lumo floated beside him, wings moving gently, its eyes bright with curiosity. Tom stopped near the mysterious patch. The plants had grown taller and fuller than ever. Tiny flowers opened, revealing colors Tom could not name. He leaned closer, touching a petal. It felt soft and warm, like the touch of sunlight. Lumo hovered above, glowing brighter as if sharing the joy of growth. "I think we are ready," Tom whispered to the little dragon. "Ready to see how far our farm can go." Lumo chirped softly, circling the patch. Its glow seemed to spread into the soil and plants. Tom watched in amazement as the silver leaves shimmered more strongly, as though they were alive in a way he had never imagined. The farm felt different now, more alive, filled with magic and possibility. Tom knew it was time to share a little of this magic with the town, but carefully. He had learned that people were curious, and some could be afraid of what they did not understand. So he planned a small gathering at the edge of the farm, where neighbors could see the light without entering the fields. By evening, a few neighbors had gathered near the farm gate. They were polite and respectful, intrigued by the faint glow coming from the fields. Tom stood with Lumo beside him, keeping the little dragon calm. "Thank you for coming," Tom said kindly. "There is something special here, but it is fragile. We want to share a little light with you, without harming it." He lifted Lumo into the air. The dragon's glow brightened, illuminating the patch of silver-leaved plants behind them. The neighbors gasped softly, amazed by the sight. Flowers shone in colors that seemed to change with the light, and the plants swayed gently, almost as if dancing. "This is beautiful," said one of the neighbors, an older woman with gentle eyes. "I have never seen anything like it." Tom smiled. "It is a new beginning. The farm has always been home, but now it is also a place of wonder." The little dragon circled above, chirping happily. Its glow reflected in the eyes of the neighbors, filling them with warmth instead of fear. Slowly, they began to understand that the magic of the farm was kind, peaceful, and full of life. Over the next few days, more people came to visit, always at a distance and always respectful. They admired the glowing plants, asked questions about the farm, and shared stories of their own gardens. Tom felt proud and happy. The farm was still his home, but now it was also a place where others could see the beauty of growth and care. Lumo thrived as well. The little dragon spent its days helping the plants grow, exploring new corners of the farm, and bonding with Tom. Sometimes it would play with the animals, and other times it would float above the fields, casting a warm light over everything. Tom realized that life on the farm had changed forever, in the most wonderful way. One evening, as the sun set behind the hills, Tom sat on the porch, Lumo curled up beside him. The silver-leaved plants glowed softly, and the air smelled sweet with flowers and fresh earth. Tom took a deep breath and looked at the stars beginning to appear in the sky. "We have come a long way, little one," he said quietly. "From the first day you appeared, to now. You have helped me see that magic can be real, not in tricks, but in care, trust, and love." Lumo chirped softly, nudging Tom's hand. Its glow pulsed like a heartbeat, gentle and steady. Tom smiled, feeling a happiness he had never known before. The farm was no longer just a place to work, it was a place of hope, wonder, and friendship. Tom looked at the fields, the glowing plants, the animals, and the little dragon. "Tomorrow, we will continue to grow," he said. "We will discover new things, and we will protect this magic together. This is our home, our family, and our future." As night fell completely, the farm sparkled softly under the stars. Lumo's glow mingled with the silver leaves, and for a moment, it felt as if the whole world was smiling. Tom knew that no matter what challenges came, he and Lumo had created something special. Something that would last forever. And in that quiet, magical night, the farm and its little dragon rested peacefully, ready for the adventures and discoveries of tomorrow.